Welcome to a new episode of Talking About Rules. Today's guest, Yves Cote, a BWF referee and Badminton Panam and referee assessor.
I'm happy to be with the group again today. Welcome to everybody. Um, Something that is very important for every referee is, and I'm going to look silly by what I will say next, but is to look at like you know what you are doing. It is very important to have things done ahead of time, and we have talked a little bit about that in the two other sessions I had with you about having things ready way ahead of time. You know that we have a checklist that is sent to the organizing committee. And in that checklist, I don't know, there's like 5-6 pages, all sorts of questions are asked to the organizing committee. And once we received it, after we send it to the organizing committee, they look into it, they answer, and then they send it back to us. We receive it, we look at it, and then question section 2, question 4. Oh, I don't like this answer. I communicate with them, and then they give me another answer. So sometimes we are left with very little time between us receiving the referee's checklist and then it's time for us to leave for the tournament. So in this case, we have what I call the referee's checklist upon arrival. The referee's checklist list to help feel cool. Ricardo just put it on. I will tell you where I got this from. This was given to me by Ernest Robinson from France, he's retired now. He was a certificated referee with BWF. He is now an assessor with the BWF. And he pointed out to me that this is something that is very important. I used to do my checkup when I arrived, but it was always, oh yeah, I'm going to look at the courts. No, that's not good. Now it is, with this, you have a list to go through. You are looking at everything, and if it's done, it's done. Not done, you put yourself a note. You have something that I will say on paper, you know, and that I am the referee or the deputy referee, I will check my list. If I'm an assessor, I will have my list. Why? Because you can be sure that it's part of the assessment of the referee, that the referee has his or her checklist ready when they enter the hall for the first time. You know, we arrived at the tournament, we arrived in the city, and then they bring us to the hotel. We meet with the organizing committee. Either Herman or Ricardo is there, or somebody from the Pan Am, and then we go to visit the courts. We go and check the venue. Well, this is when it's going to be used. In Canada, there is a Pan Am certificated umpire who is on the break right now because he and his girlfriend had a few kids. His name is Maxime, and he had his routine as an umpire when he arrived to the venue. Okay, and to him, His routine was extremely important. This is what was putting him in the mood of the tournament. And I'll tell you what his routine was. He would go and sit in every umpire's chair. He would look both sides of the court. You know, he put himself into that situation so it would be, he would have an idea right away. So this checklist upon arrival, this help feel cool checklist, is something that has to become a routine for each and every one of you. Okay, you do it the very first day when you arrive. If everything is fine based on this checklist, then you're okay. And then after that, every day, you must, upon arrival at the venue, have a look around. I started that last year with BWF referee who was in Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada. She was the head referee, Shirley Gabby, and I was playing tricks with her. I was moving things around just to see if she would notice. Of course she was noticing, okay? But my point was, you have to get into a routine of doing these things. We're telling you now, yes, this will be part of the assessment. But you don't need to have this as a reminder. You just do it naturally without even thinking. So let's start going through this thing here. Entrance and control when you arrive. Okay. Depending of the city where you are, depending of the event, there might be control. Last summer, I was at the Japan Open. Everybody needed their badge. Everybody. You could not enter the venue because we entered through different doors. You could not enter that building if you did not have your badge. If you have a junior tournament in your country, rules and security might be a little bit different. But this is something that you need to see. How do they check people? Pretty soon, I would not be surprised at all if we have metal detectors in some of the biggest tournaments. The first time I went to Guatemala City, I'm looking at the entrance, and there are 3 signs at the entrance. No smoking, which is okay. No drinking, which is okay. And then I see no guns. Oops, I was a little bit surprised. But everything was there. Meeting point. I'm sure you all know what the meeting point is. Okay, where will the players, where will they line up? And we have 8 courts, then make sure that on the floor, there are 8 spots to line up umpire, service judge, players, line judges. Make sure that there is enough room. And as the number of courts get smaller during the week, then your meeting point area has to increase or decrease depending on how it goes. Okay. You have received in the referee's checklist, you have received the way that we're marching to the courts. Okay. Marching to courts 1, 2, and 3. You have received this. Because of the drawing, you may not understand it. Now you arrive, and now you can really see it. What I suggest that you do it from there, but also if there is a second floor, if there is a mezzanine around, go and see it from there also. Okay, sometimes you may see things that that you might have to change because you're seeing it from a higher point of view. I'll give you an example. In Mexico, not Mexico, in Rio de Janeiro in 2015, the test event for the Olympics, I was the head referee, and I'm looking everything from the floor level. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. I go to the mezzanine, I look around, and then I'm talking to somebody. I said, is it my eyes that are playing games on me, or the second court is not right? Well, there was a problem with the second court. Okay, the service line on the one side was 3 centimeters off. Now, when you're at the floor level, you cannot see that. I was able to see it. Why? Because I had the higher point of view. I was at the mezzanine. So that is why I am saying that. Windows, make sure that everything is covered, and you have to be extremely, which word should I use? You have to be extremely bossy about the windows covering. Extremely, okay? Because if there's a little bit of light, this will bother you. A year and a half ago, I was at a big tournament in Canada, the Canada Winter Games, and the test event was done in November, and everything was fine. In end of February, beginning of March, when we played the actual Canada Games, well, the sun coming up in the morning was from different windows. And for the first half hour of the day, we could not use 2 courts. Why? Because the sun was reflecting directly on these 2 courts. You know, so this is, even though the windows were well covered and this was well done, and in November they had identified all this, but nobody had taken in consideration the fact that that 4 months later, the sun, the inclination of the sun in the morning would be different. Is there any air movement also? So this is very important. You know, I was in Malaysia a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I was in Malaysia for the Malaysia Open, and on the court closer to the exit, there was a little bit of air movement, and that could not be avoided. So first thing, when we tested the shuttles, it was not done on that court. So this is important. And the second thing is that, you know, as much as possible, we try to limit the air movement, putting things, but there was still a little bit. So what did we do? Well, we used that court as little as possible, you know. So this is important. After that, well, we talked about marching to the court, and we're marching off the court. So when we exit, where do we go? And will that change during the week? What do we do after the finals, after the semifinals? Is there interviews on the court? So all this has to be seen ahead of time. Okay, same thing, the mixed zone. The mixed zone. We exit the courts, we have the mixed zone. At that point, the officials are not in contact with the players anymore. But until we reach the mixed zone, umpire, service, judge are with the players. And if anything happens until they arrive there, this has to be reported to the referee. So this is important. And make sure that the mixed zone is not very next to the meeting point. Okay, so will there be interviews? Yeah, okay, where will they take place? Because the interviews are after the players have reached the mixed zone. But the interviews, the place where the interviews will be, cannot interfere with the meeting point, players going in and out, and cannot interfere with the warming up area. So it has to be set in a given spot. And this is why I'm saying that it's important that we see this when we arrive. Okay, so mixed zone, match control. You want to know who the people is in charge of match control? Who is in charge of the marshals? Who are the people who are getting the players from the warm-up area right to the meeting point? Because all this, a badminton team, an organizing team, has to be from the very first match a well-tuned machine. Because if something does not work somewhere, then the whole thing does not work. So it's important that you see this ahead of time. And they are minor things look at the very next line, is there a spare printer and spare toner? If we are printing the sheets, what if we run out of ink in this printer and now nothing works? So it is important that we mention that. On line 13, court layout, distance between courts. Okay, the bigger the tournaments, the more distance you must have between the courts. 2 meters, 2.5 meters, 4 meters, okay? And some tournaments where you just have 1 meter. Okay, are there A boards? Where will they be located? You have 8 courts. Where are the A boards located? A boards are very important. Why? Well, this is advertisement. This is publicity. This means money for the organizing committee. That pays for the officials, that pays for the shuttles, that pays for many different things. And of course, the advertisers want to have their A boards and that are well seen. Is there photographers? Where is their spot? How do they get to the courts? How do they get off the court? So all these are things that you have to be able to see and visualize when you are on the floor. TV layout. We're in the Pan Am zone. We may have, World Juniors. We had the World Juniors a few years ago in Canada. Before that, we had it in Peru. Hey, we'll have TV. Which court is there? Will we have IRS? Well, where is it located? So as a referee, you have to know all of these things. You must have all these things. Okay, then again, where will the umpires be? Where do they sit when they are not officiating? Do they have water supplied? Does this come in bottle or they must have their water bottle? When are the meals coming in? Who's taking of that? Okay, so these are small little things, but they're things that we have to know ahead of time, way ahead of time. Then I keep going down, I'm still in the red. Medical personnel. Do I have a doctor? I have a doctor, I have 2 doctors. Hey, I'm fine. Where's the doctor located? So this is important. You're on the field of play. Where's the doctor located? They will have tell you, this is where it is. And you're looking around and it makes no sense that the doctor is there because the doctor is way too far from the action. So you have to analyze, you have to say, no, I want them there. Okay. Who are the doctors? Where are they located? Hospital route. You have to know. You have to have a map. Why? Because during your team manager's briefing, you will say to the team managers, to the coaches, we have an ambulance that is at the door, and the route to the hospital in rush hour will take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But you have to know the hospital route. Okay. And you have to know what the protocol is also. Will they accept people from other countries? How will that work with the health insurance? So this is important that we have all of these. So if we look on the court, umpire chairs, score pads, the cabling done way ahead of time, closed boxes, service judge chair, shuttle box, the 2-minute signs are the nets and posts. Are there spare nets? Are there spare posts? Screen, is there a screen for each court? Is there one on each side of each court? If we have IRS, do we have a screen for them also? So all this thing is done when you arrive. Line judge chair, coaches chairs, flooring. This is a very old carpet, and all the joints have to be taped. Have to be taped. Good. So you saw that all the joints are taped. Okay. The joints are taped. So when you arrive at the court, at the team managers meeting, you have to say that to the coaches, to the team managers. Look, I am faced with that situation. So they're aware of it. Some of them may pretend that they do not know, but when they arrive, they said, look, that's just the way it is. Taping on court, lighting. In some area, the lighting come off at a certain time. Oops. Your matches start at 9 o'clock in the morning. At what time do you admit the players in? Because they will ask, well, can I be there? Is it okay for me to be there at 7:30? Then with the local organizing committee, you will have decided that. Okay, so then you keep going, the quality and the lux. Lux, you have to check what is the intensity of the light. I don't remember exactly what is the minimum number of lux in the BWF, but I mean, this is something that is easy to find. Okay, often they have just lights that they put specifically for the tournament. I had last year in Thailand where they had to change a full block in the middle of the day. Why? Because their big breaker just broke, and we lost the court for about half an hour. But those things happen. There's absolutely nothing that we could do about this, but it was taken care of. Okay, so referee's table. Is it a desk? Where is it located? Remember, you're the head referee of the tournament. You're the deputy referee. You have a lot of power. If you do not like where they placed your desk, you changed it. Law 17.1. The referee is in overall charge of the tournament. It means that you can do a lot of things. You don't like it, you move it to where you will see fit. There's 8 courts, you have 2 deputies. Well, maybe you can be on the podium with the others, and then the 2 deputies are placed in a spot where they can look at 4 courts each. Make it so it works for you. Okay, give me the Mohamed. Give me the number of lux. I just saw a comment there. So, size of the table, power socket, because you need to have your connection. You have an internet connection. Often, what they will do is that they will get an internet connection for the referee team only. If that does not happen, make sure that you have access to the internet. It is important that you have access to the internet. Okay. Is there a chair that is at the referee's desk? Is there a chair for you? Where is to you the nearest bathroom? It's written nearest toilet, nearest bathroom. You know, I do not know each and every one of you, but one of you may have a bladder problem. You have to go often to the bathroom. Well, you have to know where the closest one is to you. This is important. You know, again, I mentioned this earlier on for food and drinks for the umpires, service judge, and line judges, but it's important for you also. Example, last year in Japan, at the Japan Open, the referees, we were eating one, there was 4 of us, we were eating one at a time, but in the referee's room, not with the umpires. And that's just the way it was set up, you know. And then also, you know, something that's something that is important also. And maybe we do not have that problem in the Pan Am, but in Asia, there's a lot of people who smoke. So you want to make sure that you not, if you're intimidated by the smoke, then you have to make sure that you are not in the same room. You know, walkie-talkie. Are we going to have some? Again, last year at the Japan Open, coming from the IRS referee, we had one walkie-talkie. The guy from the IRS had one also. Yes, their technology, everything will go on the big screen, but what if it does not work? Well, that's exactly what happened. For one shot, it did not work, so they had to call us using the walkie-talkie. You know, so like I said, you want to prepare, you want to make sure that everything is ready for you. Okay, then match control. Who's in charge of the match control? This is important because you need the person in charge of the match control. You want them close to the referee, because sometimes you may have to look at something in the draw. You may have to look for something that is in the tournament software program. Okay, that is related to that tournament. It's not everybody that has the supercomputer skills. So who's the match control? Where is that person? Again, we've talked about this. Who are the announcers? Who are the marshals? Will there be music? When will there be music? French Open in Paris, they always have a lot of music, you know. So this is part of it. Heartbeat, because when they're waiting for the IRS to give the results of the challenge, the heartbeat goes. Okay, do they have it? Yes, no, okay, they don't. Then we know these. Same thing, you know, you check with your match control team. You have a printer? Yes. You have toner? Yeah. Do you have a spare computer? Because it should not be the referee's computer that is used as the spare one. They should have a spare one there. PA system. How do we communicate from PA to the practice courts? Marshals are taking care of that. Marshals are on walkie-talkie. Good. Then you know what is happening. You know, so that's why I wrote PA connection to practice and warming up carts. Walkie-talkie, where are they being charged? So this is something that we are doing. Field of play, view from above. I mentioned that. By the way, that court that was in Rio de Janeiro in 2015 disappeared. We have never seen that court after. How do I know that? Is because there is also like all the courts are numbered. So, okay, and also at some events, you will have people from the BWF. So when you're doing your walk around when you arrive, usually the people from BWF will be there. And it's time for you to ask questions. And when I say BWF, if this is the Pan Am Championships, you arrive and whoever is there, Herman or Ricardo or somebody else, then, hey, what about this? I just noticed this. Is this okay? Then, you know, then you will have your answer right away. So it's very important that we stay in touch with the organizing committee every day, but also with the people from either the Pan Am or the BWF. So where the managers is, where is the floor manager? When I was in Malaysia, the floor manager at the Malaysian Open in 2018, the floor manager was sitting 2 chairs behind me. Okay, I would go somewhere, he would follow me. Unless I tell him not to follow me, but he was always following me. And if I needed something to be done, he would come to me and I would say, look behind the court too, something, you see the carpet is moved a little bit. Can this be fixed? And I looked at the score, I said, look, they're gonna be in the break. They're gonna be at the interval soon. Can you do it at the interval? He said, yes, I will. And then as soon as it was 11-8 interval, he went there with 2 of his crew and everything was done. So important that you know who is there. The worst thing that could happen is that you are waiting for somebody when the action is taking place. That will not look good on you. So, and if there's any extra equipment, and again, mops, and is there spare mops? Why? Somebody would say, well, why? Have you ever had a mop that broke in the middle of sweeping the floor by a line judge? Yes, I saw it. And in the biggest tournaments, fortunately, there were spare ones. So, shuttles, you're checking this, okay? How many do you have? You should have all this information from prior, but now you double check. Okay, we're going to be using the AS50, speed 2, 3, and 4, and we have so many of the 2s, so many of the 3s, so many of the 4s. Good, okay. How do we get them to the court? Is this the service judge that brings the shuttles with him or her? Or it's somebody from the shuttle control that is taking the shuttle to the court and back from the court. So this is important. When are the baskets emptied? After every match or twice a day? You know, then also you checking your quantities, consumption monitoring, temperature monitoring, all that is done on a regular basis with the shuttle control people. Tournament planner, who's in charge of this. BWF has a great guy for the major event. Okay, yes, they had the guy named Leon for so many years, and then he is one of the two that build the program, so he knew how the whole thing works. Okay, and now it's a guy from Malaysia called Theo. I've worked with him like in 5 or 6 tournaments, and believe me, he knows what he's doing. When I want something specific, I just go and ask. So you have to be able to understand the way that person works, and also will the team will that person be available for the team manager's briefing? Why would that be? Well, it's very simple. There might be promotions. There might be cancellations, players who are not coming in. So, you know, when you're adding names in the tournament software, from the reserve list or from the qualifier rounds, well, somebody has to be able to do that. And it is not the referee's job to do. Now, you're in a very, very small tournament. Yes, you can do it. Okay, but the bigger your tournament is, if you're at the Pan Am Championships, the national championships in your country, I'm sorry, this is not the referee's job. If you're at a local regional junior tournament, you know, this is something that you may do. This is something that you may do to train people. Yes, but otherwise, that's not your job. So after that, on the organizers, IRS, do we have the IRS? Okay, for most of the tournaments, you will not have it here. If there's TV, then we're going further down, probably around line 95, or Ricardo, right, line 95, something like that. No, 94, I was close. TV, who are the people? You have to know them, because they will ask you some things that are specific. Example, can we have the order of play for the next day? You'll have it as soon as I can give it to you. Is it possible that we do not use that color for the players who are on TV court, that color of clothing? Why? Because it interferes with the signal. Yes, there are some green that they will not accept, because the virtual logo of the sponsor, when the player is on the court, it interferes with the logos of the sponsor. So it's all sorts of things. Then you have that list, of course. Umpires, you should have received the list of umpires before, their level, and you know, where they're from. Will there be a coordinator? Is there anyone that is being assessed or being appraised? Is there anyone? You need to know that. Okay, example, at the World Juniors, if often at the World Juniors, there are umpires that are being assessed to become BWF accredited. Okay, and excuse me, it is important that we know who's assessed. Why? Because they will not do a quarterfinals on. So you have to give them more matches before to make sure that there is a good assessment or good appraisal that is done for them. Will there be any training? One thing we try to do is to have some times where the umpires, outside of the technical meeting, of course, we will try to have a little bit of training. Or if we have one of the top ranked official that is coming, you may want to talk about something that is new. You know, example, Mike Walker from Canada, who's a certificated umpire with the BWF, is now one of the assessors. Well, if he happens to be in a Pan Am tournament and he has been to a BWF meeting, there may be things that have changed. So he will communicate that with everybody. So that's why. Where's the umpire room? Where and the umpire room? Where is it? Is it far from the meeting point? Is there a place where you can lay down for a little while? Why? Well, because because one may be tired, one may not feel well. Myself as a referee, it happened at a few tournaments where I was either referee or deputy, where I was sick during the week. So we have to plan ahead of time. Where's the briefing room? How far is the hotel? How do we get to and from the hotel? Thailand last year, for the referees and the BWF people, it would take us about 15 minutes drive. Umpires, their hotel was across from the venue. So, something that we have to know. And that's why I said that, like, duration, 15 minutes. Line judges, how many do we have? As you probably know, we have in the Pan Am zone some BWF line judges that are doing bigger and bigger events. Okay, how many do we have? I know that for the Olympics, if I recall, it's going to be 240 line judges that will be there. I remember at the World Juniors in Chiba in 2012, if I recall, it was like 160 line judges that we had. We had 8 courts, 160 divided by 8, 20 assigned to a courts. So there's who's the big boss of these people? Are they being trained also? Where is their room? Why? Because you're going to have, as the referee, you're going to have a meeting with the line judges. Either the referee will do it or the deputy. I know that I like to do the line judges meeting, and I tell them that their job is extremely important. Why? Well, this is where we start. Usually, myself, this is where I started as a badminton official. I was a line judge. Then I became umpire, service judge, and now I'm a referee. So it's just to tell them, look, your job is very important. And if you have a little chat with them, this is very good. Usually what I tell them is, like when I went to China, the first thing I told them after I saluted them in Mandarin, it was welcome to China. They all had a good laugh, but it's part of getting to know the people. It's part of making sure that everything is going to be all right. Hotel, next one. Transport to and from. How long does it take? It should not be too long. And I'll give you an example. I was personally involved in this in 2003. Oof, I had more hair then. In 2003, Pan Am Games were in Santo Domingo, and there was issues with the organizing committee. The hotel was on a resort, an hour-and-a-half drive from the venue. So every day we would lose 3 hours just to go and come back. Then one night we arrived and they had given our rooms to tourists who were paying more money. That did not go very well. So again, important that you have all this information. I told you that a few times already. You already have this information. You're just double checking. Very important. Photographers. I talked about that. Where do we have, how do they get from their area to the courts? Will they interfere with the players? Show me their route. So you have to see that. And something very important, keep the photographers on your side. Okay, talk to them. Yes. I mean, if you can help them, you help them. If you can't, tell them straightforward, sorry, I cannot help you with this. I understand your point. You still have to go around. That's just the way it is. Okay, so this is for that part. Usually, like, photographers are like, this is very, very good crew. Doping. If you know ahead of time that there will be doping control that will take place, you're going to mention it into your team manager's briefing. If you don't know that there will be doping control, you will mention in your briefing there might be, because there might be, you never know. But if you know that doping control will take place, you have to identify, okay, are there signs? How do we access to this? Okay, you have to know. And all the other signposting that you see there, doping office is for the local organizing committee. Where are the restroom or bathrooms? Where are the changing room for guys and for the girls? Where are there toilets? Is there an equipment room? So you have to know this. You have to look into all this. Practice hall, where is it? In can't remember where it Thailand. In Thailand, the practice court was like about 5-minute walk from in another building. Okay, there was warm-up courts close by, but they were away. In Taipei, the practice hall was like a 15-minute drive. So it's important that we go and visit these things. We want to make sure that everything is fine. When I was in Paris last fall, it was the same thing. Practice hall was about a 15-minute drive. So it is important. It's important that you go and visit. So at the team manager's briefing, when you have questions asked, you have to be able to answer. And everything I've talked about so far is this. If you have questions at the team manager's meeting, you have to be able to answer them. You know, so warm-up courts. How many courts are there? Just one court? You're kidding. No, we have booked others. Well, make sure that I have a minimum of 6 or 8. You know, you have to tell them that. Warm-up court. How do we communicate with the hall? How long does it take to get us there? You know, practice warm-up courts. In Malaysia, the warm-up courts were, they were in the same building, but it would take a good 3-4 minutes. So the marshals, we had a very, very good team. The marshals would go and then make sure that they'd go ahead of time, make sure that everything is ready. How long does it take to do that? Mobile phone. Is a mobile phone provided? It should be. Okay, it should be. And I know nowadays everybody has a cell phone, but you don't have to use yours if you're in a different country, unless they provide you with a SIM card. You know, usually the SIM cards that they will provide you are good like for 30 days from the first use. So if you go to Dubai for a tournament and they provide you with a SIM card, I don't think that you will need it after you leave Dubai. But if they do not provide you with a cell phone or mobile phone, they provide you with a SIM card. So this is important. Team managers, an umpire's briefing, usually they take place in the same room. Okay, so you have to go and visit that room also. We have talked about this in previous meetings. So you're going to check, do they have the projector? Is there a big screen, or will that go on this back wall? All this, you have to know that. You have to see this ahead of time. So you do not delay the team manager's briefing, so you can connect everything. You have to make sure that everything is ready a few hours ahead of time. Why? Because you will be in that meeting room at least half an hour before the meeting starts. But it's not at that time that by the time meeting's at 5 o'clock, you're there at 4:30. When you arrive, everything should be ready. Why? Because you have checked everything at 2 o'clock. So they have from 2 till 4:30 to make sure that everything is there. And if there are things missing, it is time for you to put your foot down. This is what I need, and I need it now. Okay, so attendance list. Major tournaments, the list is ready. When the coaches arrive, they're giving a package. They have to sign saying that they are there. They write their cell number, because if the local organizing committee has to talk to somebody, then they know who to reach. Or we will need that player for an interview. Well, you talk to the manager or you talk to the coach. Well, we have the number, we have the phone number where we can reach that person, and we know that he's at the main hotel, and we know his room, example, room 404. So we can leave him. If we do not see him, we can, yeah, Fernanda, I will answer your question soon. So everything is given. Make sure your video is there. And then when we have a meeting, it's always who will talk about what. We were at the Japan Open. Somebody from the Nippon Badminton Association came and talked, and then there was somebody from the BWF that was there. So that person talked, and then the referee started the meeting. That's just the way it is. One thing, and thank you, Fernanda, for writing that down so I could see it. If there's a power failure, if something unbelievable happened, who do I get in touch with? You know, so this is a Pan Am tournament. People at the Pan Am should be contacted. Okay, example, either Herman or Ricardo, or if there is somebody from the Pan Am board of directors that is right at the tournament, that person should be contacted with the local organizing committee. Okay, I'll give you an example. This happened, if I recall, this happened like 5 years ago, something like that. At the Vietnam Open, the roof caved in during the rain season. So a lot of work had to be done. Of course, the BWF had been contacted because all this was filmed as it happened. And how do we, so the people from, there was somebody from the BWF, and he got in touch with his boss, and then everything was put in order, everything stopped. We have to go and play somewhere else. So they had to find a venue, they had to make sure everything was all right. And because that was something not planned, of course, everybody cooperated. Everybody cooperated. I don't know why. Players were extremely fast after that. Fast in the sense that they would not waste their time around the court. Even the players who are known to waste their time around the court, they were going extremely fast. Why? Because we had to compress all the matches in a period of time that was shorter than what was planned. You know, Pan Am Games in Rio in 2007. Only 3 courts. It was a very nice venue. Everything went well until a tractor working outside went over, the wheel of the tractor went over our main power cord that we needed for that special lighting, and we lost half of the lights. You know, that's not planned, but it's still there. What do we do? We have to take an emergency situation. Lighting. Thank you, Mohammed, for giving me the answer to the question I asked. Minimum lighting level be 1000 lux and be able to provide even light. 5.1 for grade 1 and 2 tournament. For grade 3 tournaments, recommended 1000 lux. So, I mean, as long as we can see and we don't need headlights, I'm okay with that. All sorts of daylight or sunlight behind or along the side of the court be eliminated. And I've talked about that. So this is very important. It recommended that lighting to be set up for optimal conditions with the photographers. Okay, so smoke areas, people who smoke, I've talked about that. Power failure, what do you do if this happens? Well, you know, we do what I will say, the best we can. Questions? Before I take any, or Ricardo gets back into this, it is important that this becomes like something you do every single day. This is important. You have to do this all the time. You're doing this without even thinking. You know that the first time you will arrive at the venue, those are the things you have to do. Something else I'm adding to this. The very first day, you arrive in the morning, you check, you make sure that the last final little things that were not done the day before are done. Before you leave on that day, find on the field of play what I will call the center position and have a look around. The next day when you arrive, go in the exact same spot and have a look around to see if things have changed, to see if things changed, to see if things have been moved around. Why do we do this? Well, you have an umpire's briefing to do. You arrive at the umpire's briefing. For your information, behind court 8, this was added or this was removed. Do that every single day of the tournament. You know, you can also do it as a learning tool. Move the court numbers around. I did this with Shirley Gabby, you know, and I think that she started to do something like that also. You know, it's a test. Why are we doing this? Well, it helps in being part of a team, and it helps also as creating what I will call the snowball effect, in the sense that everybody will feel that they're part of the team. Oh, look at that, there is one coach's chair missing. and one of the umpire will tell you there's one missing. Something also that I just see a comment. I'll answer Mohamed's question before Fernanda. Emergency exit. You have to know where they are. When you receive the plan, it should be written on the plan. So I will take a note on my paper right now. I will add it, emergency exits. Okay. So I will add it in my PowerPoint presentation on this. Okay. I had a question here. I had a few questions. How many times you go to court to change line judge with bad call situation? That's a good question. I'll come back. Did you ever change a service judge? Myself as an umpire, no. As an umpire, if I had to change a line judge, yes, I did it once, and it's not funny. It's not interesting. When you start with 6 line judge configuration, you then go to 4 line judges as they progress. Is that fair? No, it is not fair. It's better to start with 4 than go to 6. Do not, in the middle of a day, get less line judges than what you started with. Get more, yes. Less, no. Do I go to court to change line judges? As the referee, the umpire will tell me if a line judge needs to be changed. I explain. Referee is an overall charge of the tournament. Umpire is in overall charge of the match. So if something needs to happen on the court, the umpire will give me orders. The umpire will tell me, center line on my left, I want that line judge to be changed. And my question will be, are you sure? Yes, I am sure. Good, I will have that person removed. And I will do it. You have to do it, okay? But it's not an easy situation. Nowadays, with the fact that the umpire can correct the line judges, we see less and less line judges that are being moved or removed, I mean. I remember in '99, I was in the chair at the Canada Games again, men's doubles, the final, and the very first call of the match, the line judge on the back line missed it. And I'm not talking missing the call by 10 centimeters. I'm talking missing it by 1.50 meters. That was an horrible call. And one team got a point. Why? Because at that time they could not. We could not overrule, because I would have overruled right away. And the very next play, the players saw, the players that got the free point, if I can call it, said, oh, really? Bad line judges. Umpire cannot do anything. Oh, I'm going to try. And the second play, exact same spot, and the line judge missed the call again. At that point in time, as I am the umpire in charge of the court and the surrounding, I raised my right hand. Referee, get here. Referee arrived, and I gave an order to the referee. On my left back line, the line judge has to be changed now. The referee tells me, I cannot change the line judge. And I said, well, I will be sitting here a very long time, and the players will have to wait a very long time. because the match will not start, will not continue until that line judge is gone. Why? Is because I'm scared that one of the two players on my left will go and punch his lights out. This is what I said to the referee. And it took 2-3 minutes. The line judge was removed. It looks good, but it's not fun. Believe me, I felt for the kid. And his calls were bad. No questions. His calls were extremely bad. Probably amongst the worst calls I've seen in my life. But I had to do it. Now, that was as an umpire. But you saw what I did. I gave an order to the referee. Why? Because I'm the boss on the court and the surrounding area. And as a referee, if you receive an order from the umpire, that's why you ask the question, are you sure? That's a big call you want me to make. Okay. Once as a referee, I changed the umpire on the court between the second and the third game. That was in Miami. The umpire called me between the second, after the second game. He said, I'm not feeling well at all. I said, just get down. I'll get somebody else. So he went, and he went straight for the bathroom, and apparently something came out of his body. Then after I took care of the timer, and when I called the players back to court, I told them the umpire is sick. I've placed a new umpire on the chair. And the player said, yeah, no problem. Okay, so in all this, as a referee, you have to be in charge. Okay, this checklist that you have received, things can be added. Okay, things can be deleted. Things may not apply to all tournaments. You decide. You know, you're in a multi-gym facility and there's basketball hoops. Are they in play or not? This is what you have to see. This is what you have to decide. What is the decision of the organizing committee? So that's why I'm saying that you have to know these things. Okay, I'm gonna read the comment before. So it is important. It is important. Thank you for your comment, Fernanda. It is very important that we work as a team. We work as a team. The reason why I'm saying that I'm taking orders from the umpire is I want to make sure that everything will go fine for the umpire. Many years ago, the referee could not go to the courts unless they were invited by the umpire. This does not exist anymore. I can go on the court. I can go around the court. I can go and talk to the umpire whenever I decide so. That's all. Teamwork. Remember this. We're all in this together. We will look as good as the weakest link. I want to make sure that my chain will remain strong. So I'm going to work with everybody. I'm going to put everybody, I'm going to do the best I can to put everybody on my side, to work with me and not against me. That's all what I have, folks, for now. Question time, if there are others. Oui, Mohamed. Sorry that Mohamed is there and that he wrote me something. That's a joke between him and I. So, Senor Salamanca.
Thank you, Yves. Thank you, Yves. I think this topic of today was very interesting and also remind us a lot of information that we have to check before to start the tournament. No, in some cases we just said that everything is done, and at the end some little things happen, like the projector. The projector is one thing that in a lot of tournaments always have an issue. Maybe arrives later, maybe is not the correct connection, and something always happen. I don't know if anyone have question. I have one. You mentioned just at the beginning of this meeting that we as a referee must to be very bossy, no?
At times.
But in some cases, work with some countries or organizations are very complicated, no? So how to manage these kind of situations when you already have asked for everything and also request some changes, and at the end nothing happened. So
like this is a good one, Ricardo, and you were there the last time it happened to me. I mean, it's diplomacy. The one thing people must understand, and I don't want to use that, but I'm going to tell you what coaches and team managers have to understand is that I, as the referee, will have the last word. I am the one in charge. Law 17.1. And it will go my way. Now, I don't want to use this. I don't want to be the bossy guy. I will be the friendly guy. I'm going to ask you very nicely. I will ask you another time, and I will ask you 3-4 times if I have to. But by the deadline, if I do not have your information, then I make the call, period. And there's nothing that they can do. Why? It's because of law 17.1. And there are people with whom you can absolutely not talk. Why? Is because they are stubborn. They just want to do their things their way. Okay, then I will go and talk to somebody else from your organization. That's all. Before being a badminton official, I was an ice hockey referee. And my job, the captain or the alternate can come and talk to me. But there was one captain, when he would come and talk to me, was very impolite. So that was very easy. I told him, sir, I am not talking to you. And I went and talked to another player. I have the right to do so. So that's why I'm saying that. There is a way. There is a way that you can talk to people. And there is a way you cannot talk to people, obviously. I take the approach that I am somebody that is approachable, somebody that people can come and talk to me. And then I see how it happens. But the case that you mentioned, Ricardo, is extremely rare, fortunately.
okay, thank you, Yves. Also, Mohamed, have a comment, please, Mohamed.
Thank you, Ricardo. Thank you, Yves, for the presentation. It was good and good examples for every point. So my question is, can you change the umpire decision It's like if you know it's like I'm not aware about the rules, who is making mistake.
Oh, very good question, Mohamed. The answer is yes. You can change the umpire's decision if the umpire gave the wrong interpretation of the law, not if it is based on a fact. And I'll give you an example. Let's say the score is 17-5, and the umpire said to the server, serve on the right side. The umpire obviously is giving the wrong interpretation of the law, because at 17, everybody knows that you have to be on the left side of the court. But the umpire has said, no, serve on the right side of the court. This is a decision that is based on the wrong interpretation of the law. Then I can go on the court and I can change the decision of the umpire. And there is one that is on YouTube where I am in it, Lee Chong-wei versus Tommy Sugiarto, where my umpire on the court called a receiver's fault before the service started, which we cannot do. I went on the court, talked to the umpire. I realized that he gave the wrong interpretation to the law. I explained to him, then I talked to the two players. I changed his call. One of the player that was going against him said, you cannot do that. I said, yes, I can. It is not a fact. It's the umpire gave the wrong interpretation of the law. And then I can do something. And this is what I did. Does that answer your question, Senor Mohamed?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I want this. I want that example because I know you do it.
Okay.
It's good. Thanks.
I was there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mohamed. Yves, anyone has another question about this, or maybe another?
Okay, I will just add something that I see here that PJ wrote. Also see in the BWF technical officials resources in the referees manual number 1, level 1. There are also checklist in this manual. So it's very important. You can access that directly on the BWF website. Go in the technical officials and you will find all this. So there are different checklists in that manual. Thank you, PJ, for bringing that to my attention. I didn't think about it. Ricardo.
Thank you, Yves. No, I just waiting if somebody have any comment or maybe anecdote that they can share, that they want to share with us. I know we as a referee experiment a lot of issues when we arrive to a tournament, and not all the tournaments are the same. All the countries are different. That means that you will arrive to a tournament, we have a lot of budget, and maybe you will arrive to another one that is not have that kind of facilities to run a tournament. But another thing that you mentioned about this is about the teamwork. No, it's very important also to start this kind of relationship with the umpires, with the land judges, and also with the organization. Only to have a stronger tournament, and also to build good relationships between the different areas during a tournament, and then solve any situation that could rise in sometimes. No, it's like maybe also you mentioned, no, it's very important if something happened to have right there, no, not just start to wait until it appears, like somebody get injured, and then we have to wait maybe 10 or 20 minutes to the ambulance arrive or something like that.
Yeah, no, and very good point, Ricardo. And on this is make sure that you talk to everybody. You arrive at the tournament, somebody from a country is there. Hi, how are you? Shake hands or elbow, you know, talk to the people, talk to the organizing committee. I make a point myself to go and talk to the organizing committee every single day. I make a point of this.
Yes.
First thing in the morning, first thing when I arrive. Is there anything? How are you doing today? Good. Is there anything that I need to know? Does anything change in the program? You know, and I hope you'll have a great day and all this. So if you do that, you will realize that the people will help you a lot. People will be with you.
Yeah.
And, you know, and everything has to go. We're all in this together. You know, you see a player that you have not seen in a while. Example, Igor. I was in Asia, I think, and Igor was there. So warming up at the training session. So I just took a few steps. I went to see him. Igor, how are you? He looked at me, oh, Mr. Cote, long time no see. So just a few words. Now, if something happens that I have to interfere, that I have to intervene on his court, the odds are that because I have a good working relationship with Igor, the odds are that it will go smoother than if I do not have a good relationship with that one. That's all. And we know, and when we know that some people, we cannot deal with them because they do not have that type of personality or they're too stubborn. Well, do the best you can. That's all. Even if you have to, redraw.
Yeah, thank you, Yves, for your comments. Herman have some comments, please, Herman. And after Herman is Mohamed.
Yves, thank you for your presentation today, and good night. Hello to everyone attending. Yves, I was hearing your presentation was excellent, and also I find it that it's very important to as soon as you are nominated, to build the communication with the organizers, no? Because that helps a lot before you arrive to have things in place. And just in case, as it happened to Julie when she had that incident in Vietnam of the falling ceiling and having to change overnight the facility, that facilitates things also, no? The good communication, understanding what you need in this other place. So the people is the same. They were looking at that moment for a new facility, and overnight they had everything perfect and just presentable, no? And I think that's the success to have a good event, no? Saving the distances, what the facility we have in Panama and the facility we have in other parts of the world, but it's very important, no? Today we were talking with you earlier about possibilities of your nomination for next year to assist us, and you already had one comment, no? And now that's good because we are beginning to communicate on activity that's going to come maybe 10 months in advance that maybe we have to take in consideration. So that's a very important part when also, no? Especially if you're the referee managing the event. Yeah.
Yeah. Based on what you just said, I will add a comment to this, Herman, and communication is the key in this. And I will share with everybody what happened to me when I was assessed for my certification. we're doing testing of the shuttle the very first day. And we're in Malaysia, so we're using Victor Ace Master, and they have speed 76, 77, and 78. We test, and the speed based on the test is 78. I arrived at the shuttle control. The guy had already prepared his shuttles, the 77s. I said, I'm sorry, that's not what the test is giving me. This test is giving me 78, and we're using 78. So for that day, we used 78. And the guy from the BWF, he said, look, we don't have that many. He said, this is not my problem. This is what the test is giving me. Now, should I really do a test if you are forcing me to take the 77? Because otherwise, why do I need to do the test? So anyway, we played that day with the 78. And the second day, the guy from the Badminton World Federation and came to me and he said, Yves, we have looked everywhere. We cannot find any more 78. We have 10 dozens left. We cannot. And at this point I said, okay, I will compromise. We will use the 77s. So I did compromise, okay? But it was from discussions. I could have said, no, we will play with 78, and then the tournament would have stopped. I'm being assessed for the certification. So I want to pass, there's no question. But on the other end, it's, you know, we have to do the best we can with what we have. And in that case, it was bad planning from the organizing committee. And I told them, and I mentioned that in the report to the BWF. And I said, look, what is the use of me doing shuttle testing if you already know the speed that we are using? I am wasting my time. So the person, the guy from the BWF, Selvan, who was there, said, thank you. Thank you. I will make sure that this goes in the report, and I will make sure that you compromised and you did the best you could with what we had. Now, the assessors were aware of this because I told them, you know, and I am sure that at the end, this little thing, the fact that I compromised, the fact that I discussed with people, I'm sure that this probably helped in the assessor saying, yes, you are going up. You know, it might be just a little thing, but it is important.
Hey,
Yes, thanks, Yves. Same for your comments as well.
Thank you, Yves. Mohamed, please.
Thank you, Ricardo. I have two questions for Yves. Yeah, just one, because you are speaking about the shuttles, like what you can do if when you arrive to the tournament and you have like one speed of shuttles, as happened for me in one tournament, like, but I was as umpire. Like, but you have like just one speed of shuttle and you need to tape 16 feather and it's still fast. What you can do? This is the first. And the last, and okay, go.
Change venue. You do the best you can with what you have, Mohamed.
Okay.
If you have to tip more, you tip more. That's all.
Yeah. 16, you can more than 16.
Break them bigger.
Yeah. And another question: what's the scary scenes for the as referee during the tournament or before?
The scariest?
The scary scenes.
Dis-moi les dons en français.
Quelque chose qui te fait peur dans un tournoi?
Oh, what scares me?
Scary, yeah.
Oh, sorry. What scares me the most?
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing. I don't when I go to a tournament, I don't think, oh, this one will be there, or not this country. I don't. I just put that aside, and I go there with a positive attitude. And you know, of course, I don't want to have any players injured or anything happen to any of my officials. But I really don't think about that, Mohammed. It's for me, it's I go there with the positive attitude. Hey, this has been a while since I saw Herman or Chema or PJ and so on. So it's good because I'm going to be seeing a lot of people that I have not seen in a while, and I'm in that country. Oh yeah, this is the second time I go there. I think it's going to be fun and so on. So that's I go with the positive attitude.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Mohamed. Thank you, Yves. Anyone have comment, question, anecdote that want to share with us, and then we can discuss? No, I don't know. Maybe Dania, who is joined, can share with us some of her experience during the last Panam team. Maybe something that she wants to comment, Dania? Or maybe Shirley also was there.
Hola, hola.
Hi, Dania.
Good afternoon, everyone. So hi, Eve.
Hello.
Some comments about my last experience. So I have I don't know, a little problems. We talk about communication with the organizer. So I don't know if also it was the I can say the language is one thing, and other thing it was the for example for referees it's different experience when we are duty and the head referee, because my experiences was as duty. So they are I see they are different things that I need to do when I be the head referee. So I think the it's important to have experience like a head referee, because you see different situations that you need to take decisions. So and
Okay. I will ask you a question.
more.
I will ask you a question, Dania. Is when you received the assignment, did you feel ready to do that tournament?
Yes. So
Okay.
that's you say that when when you receive a tournament, you don't think about the problems that you think about that you want to do, right? So
Ricardo, one moment.
about.
Ricardo, you understood my question?
Yes.
Can you translate in Spanish, please?
Yes.
Just to make sure that I want to make sure.
Ok, Dania, Yves dijo si cuando te asignamos este campeonato tú te sentiste preparada para asumir este.
Sí, como uno no va con la expectativa de que todo salga mal, sino que va con la expectativa de que todo salga bien, ¿no?
Sí, okay. Okay, she said yes. So, you know,
Okay.
when you go to a tournament, you go with the, as you mentioned, with the positive attitude. and
Yeah.
just thinking that everything's go well and not thinking about everything's go bad, not so well.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. And the reason why I ask her that question is, if you ever receive an assignment and you do not think that you are ready for this assignment, make sure that you let people know. Okay? And I understand that we have to do tournaments that will be bigger, that will have a higher ranking, where there might be more difficult situation. I understand that. But if you do not feel ready, say it to the people. Said, look, do you think that it would be better? I think it would be better if I am deputy, but can you please place me with a referee that has higher ranking, or that from whom I can learn, you know? And I'm saying this in that situation. If something like that happens, you are showing to the people, look, I don't think I'm quite ready for what you're asking me, but please help me to get ready by making me being the second, and then I can learn from, you know. And like, thank you, Fernanda. It's the idea of you want to go outside of your comfort zone, but if you don't feel good at all, if you don't feel good about being outside of your comfort zone, then don't go. So that's why I'm saying that. You know, I have something going on for me. I have gray hair. The fact that I have gray hair shows that I have a lot of experience. You know, I've been around the block a few times. On the other end, the fact that I have gray hair also means that I have less time compared to somebody that is younger, less time to go. So, and that's why I'm saying that you have to feel comfy. And then I know that sometimes you have no choice, so you have to do it. So, and if that happens, if this is something new, if this is the first time you do a tournament that is bigger, then you have to get ready way ahead of time. Way ahead of time. And you have to be in contact with your deputy from the get-go, and with the organizing committee, and with PANAM. And if this means that you have to ask them questions once a week, twice a week, then that's the way it goes. Okay, you want to make sure that you are ready. You know, Herman just said, and this is something, you know, I talked to him and Ricardo before we started this, and I said, look, because of the pandemic that we have now, there is a possibility that I will not be able to do this, because I'm telling you, like a year ahead of time, there's a possibility. But in the meantime, I will check with the health people in my country to see if this is something that I can do. So right now, Herman and Ricardo, who are working for PANAM, are totally aware of the fact that I might not be able to attend a given tournament because of another tournament after. And as I said, I was chosen for the Olympics, and the Olympics will go before any other tournament, period. But because of traveling restriction, there might be something. But this is a point. I'm talking about this to make the point that where now everybody is aware of it. So we will do everything we can so I can go to that tournament where that Herman wants me to go to. But Herman also knows that there is a slight possibility that I may not be able to. And there's nothing I can do about it. That's just the way it is. So that's why I'm saying that, like, getting outside, prepare yourself. You know, if you prepare yourself, you hope that everything will go all right. And even then, even if you're well prepared, even if you have a lot of experience, something may happen on which you have absolutely no control. And even though I'm a very experienced official, this happened to me when I had to redraw a team. Redraw completely at a team event. And I was not prepared for this because I had never had this happen. So how am I going to do it? So I did it what I thought was the best way, and that's just the way. That's the way the BWF wanted me to do it, and that's what I did. But even if you're well prepared, sometimes things will happen. Herman was there, Ricardo was there. We had a good time.
Yes. So in conclusion, no, the communication is a very important fact, that communication between the referee and the other people involved in the tournament. Also preparation before tournament. We already had 2 or 3 meetings about preparation before tournament, talking about what kind of things I have to prepare before to go to a tournament, checklist, team managers meeting, etc. And also Fernanda mentioned something that go out of the comfort zone is very important. No, is the way to face this kind of challenges, to grow and also to gain more experience. It's a fact that the younger umpires have more troubles than the other ones because the organizers see the referees like, okay, you are so young to be a referee. That happened to me in one tournament, my first tournaments when I arrived, and I met the organizing committee. They say, okay, you are the referee, but you are so young. And then I say, okay, I'm the referee, but I'm young, but I can do my job. So it's very important also to know that we have to face more challenges, because maybe some people will not feel like you are prepared to do that, but you have to feel the confidence, as Eve say, and you have to believe that you can do that. If not, as Eve said, maybe you can also let us know, and we can find some solution for that. And I don't know if maybe other participant have a common situation, experience that wants to share. Or maybe we can finish this meeting. I don't know if you have any other comment.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I don't know, maybe Juan Jose. Juan Jose was preparing for his certification this year in Canada. I don't know, maybe Juan Jose, just to finish, can share with us some comments about his preparation for certification that unfortunately was postponed for next year. Juan Jose, did you have any comment? Okay, I think it's something wrong with his communication. I don't know. Okay, then I think we can finish this meeting. Herman, please, if you want to close.
Okay, Ricardo, thank you very much. Yves, again, my appreciation and thanks for assisting us. Very illustrative, and nice explain your presentation as always. And I think we are all the participants having and learning more each day. And that's what we want. And to keep our community of technical officials together, umpires and referees. And this time. Thanks again, Yves. Hope to have you soon again back, and all the participants as well. Okay, have a good night, and thank to all. Ricardo, please.
Okay, thank you, Germán. Thank you, Yves. Thank you to all. And next week we have a meeting for umpires. If you want to participate, just let us know. Just send me an email, and then I will share with you the link to you can join for this meeting. Thank you, Yves, again, and see you next week.
You're welcome. Good night, everybody.
Okay, good night, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you for all. Thank you to all, and see you next Talking About Rules, a Badminton Panam Technical Officials Conference.